When we think of Charles Darwin, the theory of evolution and the idea that species transform over time through natural selection immediately come to mind. But what if I told you that the great naturalist who challenged the religious beliefs of his time also had complex thoughts about the soul and the afterlife? Was there, behind his scientific discoveries, a spiritual vision that he never fully shared? Stay until the end, and you'll uncover a surprising revelation that will change the way you view science and spirituality. But before that, let's dive into the words and thoughts of Darwin, which perhaps still have something to teach us about these mysteries. Charles Darwin was born in 1809 into a middle-class English family, surrounded by strong religious influence. His father, a respected physician, and his grandmother, a devout Christian, expected him to pursue a medical career and dedicate himself to traditional faith. However, as he embarked on his famous voyage aboard the HMS Beagle, Darwin began to question the beliefs that had shaped him. The journey around the world was not just a scientific expedition, it was a personal and philosophical journey. There, he began to observe the infinite varieties of life, challenging the traditional view of a creator who created all species at once. It was during this voyage that Darwin began to formulate his ideas on evolution, which would later become the foundation of his revolutionary theory. But what few know is that this quest for the origin of species also led Darwin to reflect on the fate of the human soul and what happens after death. In private letters to friends and family, Darwin revealed his doubts about religion, especially about the existence of an afterlife. Despite his doubts, Darwin did not completely dismiss spirituality. He was more concerned with the evidence, or lack thereof, that supported the traditional belief in life after death. Darwin certainly sparked a revolution in our understanding of life on Earth. His theory that species evolved over time through natural selection undermined the traditional view that creatures were created by a sovereign creator. For him, the evidence was in nature, in each species observed and in every gradual change he saw. However, this scientific revolution could not answer all the questions he had, especially those about death and the soul. Darwin believed that life was the result of natural processes, a sequence of causes and effects, without the need for a supernatural explanation. For him, humans were not the center of the universe, but rather part of that intricate web of nature. But what about the soul? What did he really think about that intangible yet fundamental concept? Darwin never explicitly stated that he believed in life after death, but the question fascinated him. He wondered, could human consciousness, that spark that makes us aware of our own existence, be explained purely by biology, or is there something more, something immaterial that cannot be fully deciphered by natural processes? Darwin was not the only thinker to face these questions. Throughout history, scientists and philosophers have tried to reconcile science and spirituality. Einstein, for example, spoke of a mysterious force behind the order of the universe, while Freud, in a very different way, described religion as an illusion. But for Darwin, it seemed clear that human life was, largely, the result of physical processes, and he saw no definitive explanation of what happens after death. Throughout history, many scientists have encountered the duality between faith and reason. Darwin, with his brilliant mind and meticulous observations, never positioned himself as an enemy of faith. In fact, he believed that the pursuit of truth should transcend the barriers between science and religion. Like many, he sought answers about the origin of the universe and the fate of souls. In his later decades, Darwin appeared skeptical about life after death, but he was also aware of the limitations of human understanding. He did not completely rule out the possibility of an existence beyond death, but he found no sufficient evidence to believe in it. For him, this did not mean that spirituality was false, but that it was beyond the reach of science. So, where does this leave us? Darwin's lack of definitive answers forces us to ask, like him, must we live with this uncertainty? He teaches us that perhaps we will never fully understand the mystery of life after death. But that doesn't mean our quest for truth should stop. The question of life after death and the human soul is not a simple one, and the answer may lie beyond what we can perceive with our senses. Darwin's search for answers is no different from ours. He lived in a world full of uncertainties, just as we do. Spirituality and life after death remain great mysteries of human existence. So, should we follow only logic, or should we also accept what we cannot see? Can we embrace the idea that there is something beyond reason, something that transcends our understanding, just as Darwin, with all his scientific mind, did? Darwin left us with more questions than answers about life after death, and perhaps that is the greatest lesson he taught us, that the search to understand our own existence never ends. What do you think? Can science explain everything about life, or is there something more? Something beyond our understanding that still awaits discovery? If you're intrigued by these questions, like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to keep exploring the boundaries of science, faith, and human existence. The search for truth never ends.